Most significant challenge probably was switch from full-time job where had like basically tasks, you knew what you're supposed to be doing, and it was more or less lined up for you and prepared for you. And when you do consulting and being like fractional CTO, it's basically the position where you are the person who gets thrown into the fire and how to figure everything out and then help everybody else to fix those problems. So it's the biggest difference from, working just as a normal person or even like a freelancer who just, codes something or has like some sort of task, video editing, whatever. But, when you enter that kind of world, you are the person who fixes things. And usually, another important thing is that nobody really invites a fractional CTO when everything is good. So if you're getting anything, getting a lead, getting a gig, it means you're entering a mess and you need to put on your gloves, and then it will be something. So as a fractional CTO or management consultant, it is really important to have some sort of framework how you approach new clients, because it's always some problems there and it's never what the CEO says. You usually get hired by the CEO, and also there is some bit of like rejection, a little bit of pushback from many of the people working there, especially like top high level positions, because if the consultant enters, it means there's some danger already. So people get a bit defensive, which means you will not get all the truth about the problem. So you need to have a framework how you ladder down. So what I'm doing is like talk to the CEO, get the problems, like definitions, what's going on, what you like, what you don't like, what's the problem in your opinion, and then I identify key people like let's say CTO or maybe vice president of operations, engineering, product, so on. So all those key people, like heads of something, and start talking to them. And if they have their own versions, it's usually somebody will have the really similar version. Usually business has the similar version to the CEO, and other people will have a little bit different versions. So then you identify other key people participating in that game, or which is involved and which might be potentially causing the problem, and then you talk to those people. And then the further you go, the more different version will get about the issues and like potential problems, and you might even uncover like 10 more different problems that might be a bit related to the core issue, but no single problem is basically making the big enough of the deal, and which is like complex issue. So if you want to go into management consulting and being like fractional, this is what you might be getting. So then when you identify all those views, all those angles and everything, you start getting back. So you go up, let's say to a manager, team lead, and then you say, okay, so this is what might be the problem. This is what I noticed when I was talking to all those people. And then what do you think? What's your take on that? And then, they get some answers. Then you go up, and then you get back to the CEO. You might do another iteration, or you might start drafting a report, which you might share with those like other top level executives to start aligning on it. And there you will start noticing that there are a lot of questions, there are like a lot of potential bit of frustration. You might step on somebody's toe, and this is basically the process how you figure everything out, what needs to be done. So that's the very beginning. So basically this is like introducing yourself into the company and into that specific problematic area. When you think that you identified potential issues when you're doing fractional CTO and management consultant job, it's really healthy to draft a report and like list all the initial problematic areas, then the methodology that you've been doing, then key people you've been interviewing, all the levels and everything written there, and then the process. So do not mention names on those answers, what was basically said. Try to unify all those problem statements and group it, so you could make like some little summaries about those each of the problems. And then when you have this big pile, you need to like summarize it more like in more like detail, but in a short version. So not a detail, but let's say you need just to make a better summary about it. And this summary will be basically leading into potential solutions that you might start suggesting. I'm talking about it as a draft because it will be changed multiple times. But if you share it with a CEO, if you share it with VPs, heads, and other executives, you will start getting feedback, and different opinions. This is good because it will enable them to see also the problem from different angles, and they might have also additional ideas, and it might lead you to more conversations and different questions, which again will adjust your document. So when you have enough iterations, it depends on the size of the company, of course, you probably can start, like shaping it into like a final draft and final document, which is usually delivery. Basically, it is your work that you do, that identification of the problem. Somebody probably might think it's, where you went there and you made the report, but think about it. If somebody had enough time, they would do it, but they hire you to do that function. So it's basically you have a statement of the issue, and then you have all the documented process, how you got there. So there's no doubts that it's, valid point. When you build a report, when you're doing fractional CTO or management consultant work in the company, so in that report where you basically defined all the process, how you got to the problem statement, how you iterated, how many iterations you've done, what are the key people, and what are the proposals, you start drafting the plan of the execution. So you again create a new draft, new document where you start writing about the potential solution. So all the steps, all the different initiatives. Usually it's not only one initiative, it might be multiple initiatives. And then you start talking to the CEO, executives, other VPs and heads and so on, so on. So basically all the involved people. And you will start aligning, and you might even iterate on that report that was made before, proposal on the execution, and you might even uncover more issues. But basically this is how you start working on potentially what is going to be done, what's going to happen, and also what is really, really important not to forget to measure the impact. So you might have a bunch of different ideas, a bunch of different suggestions, but when you talk to those execs and all the involved other people, try to see how much it will have actual impact. Because all those memes about consultants that they made a presentation, took a lot of money, and basically nothing really changed, comes from that the proposals doesn't really have impactful and meaningful enough ideas. And another one, which is also same weight and really important, is that you need to build consensus within the whole group that is going to be involved. Let's say if you agree on with execs, but all the managers won't even understand what you're talking about, and they will not read your documentation because it's huge. It might be 50 pages, something like that, 100. So they will not really understand the whole picture, and they will not be bought into that idea, and which means it will not work and is very likely to fail. So if you involve all those people and you iterate enough times and you get those correct answers and buy-in from all those people, you increase the chances drastically that this is going to be executed properly, and this is also going to have an impact. So it's a really important thing. So you can have a huge list of those ideas, but you will have maybe 3 or 2 or maybe even 1 thing, initiative to change something, to transform, do that, change transformation thing, which will actually have a big impact. And then you can follow up with the rest of those ideas. It depends on the client, if they want to keep iterating, but you identified and prepared for execution of those biggest game changers in the company. Execution usually happens by those executives because you as a consultant do not really have executive power there. So basically a guy who's a whisperer into the air, of what could be done, what benefits it could have. And, that's how it goes.